So SPY dropped over $6 today. But what did I do? I turned around and I sold a put and earned some money on SPY. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today SPY had a fall, right? It fell $6. As you can see up here, it went down $6.05 to be exact, and it closed at $680.33. Now it opened today at $675.06. Whew, wow, that's a pretty low drop, right? Now it went as high as $682.61 and as low as $669.66. As you can see, it had a pretty far fall for today. But I want to go in, show how I drew my lines and how I selected my strike. If you enjoyed this type of content, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, as it does help the channel out. But let's just go right in here and let's go to that 5-minute chart and let's take a look at SPY. Okay, so we're looking at the 5-minute chart now, and that means that every single candle here is 5 minutes worth. Okay, so as you can see, we are in the after hours, and I had this green line up here as the upper and that red line as the lower point from yesterday. And that's all that is. So I scroll back to yesterday and the post-market and pre-market, and I just find what that high point was. And you can see right here, 688.62. That's what I set my high point at. And my low, as you can see, was around about 677, 678 for the open of yesterday. But in the after hours and pre-market right here, the pre-market actually dropped down to as low as 672.20. So that is where I moved that line to, because if it didn't drop down this low, then this line right here would have been my low point, right? Around that 678 line. But in the pre-market, it did drop and it got as low as 672.20. And that's what I drew that red line at right there. So what I'm doing at that point is, at market open, if it's moving up toward the top, and if I own those 100 shares, I'm looking for it to break past that top line, sell a call against those shares, earn some premium, and if called away, so be it. But if not, then I would just earn that premium and I would look to be selling that call the next day, as I would set up my lines the same way. But since I do not own 100 shares of SPY at the current time, I was looking more for the put side, and that's to sell a put if it did break below this 672.20. Now, how do I select my strike? As you can see, it was coming down and it was bumping it, right? And I had this alarm right here set at 672 even. So once it did break that, it alarmed me. And then that alarm tells me, take a look and see what's happening. So at that point, I could see it was coming down, touching and breaking just below that line. But I wasn't sure where to set that strike at. So to do that, I like to zoom out a little bit to find some type of support to see if I can use that for my strike. So to do that, let's move over to the day chart and let's see if we can see where there might be a previous support that we can use for that strike. All right, so we're looking at that day chart now, and you can see there's those same lines, right? There's my upper line and that's my lower line. And since I do not have the shares, I'm looking for that lower line. Now, I could have sold a put after it broke that low line right there of 672.20. And it looks like I would have been just fine, right? Because it actually ended up closing at 680.33. So I would not have been put those shares anyway. But you never know what the market's going to do. So I decided to look to see if there was some type of support. And you can see right here, there's a pretty strong support right there. And let me just draw a line here just to help you focus in on that. And let's thicken it up. All right, there we go. I've got a purple line right here. As you can see, it came down, touched it here, got really close over here, but it did touch here and here. So that's a pretty good strong support. But the problem is at the time, we were down here at 672. So I wanted to see, was there another support line that I could focus on and maybe set that strike at? Because that could be a very good place to set my strike. So let's zoom back just a little bit more. And you can see this right here where it did come down. It came down and it hit as low as 669.22. So let's take this line and we're just going to move it right down to about right there. So as you can see, it did come down. It hit this line and then bounced off of it. So I'm taking that as a pretty good strong support. And this one here being a secondary support, right? Because it was bouncing off of that, but it did break down below it for the beginning of the day before moving right back above that line. But the time it was dropping, I was looking for what support I could set it at and then use that for my strike. And that's where I get this candle from right here. And that line being just above 669. So what I did is I selected a 669 put and I sold that 669 put and I was asking $1.50 for it at that time. And as it was coming down, it did trigger, right? So we look at that 5-minute chart right here and I can zoom back on this and come down here. You can see, I mean, I had that line here at a roughly 669. It came down to 669.66, but it came down enough to trigger and it picked me up at $1.50 before turning right around and start moving back up. Now, it doesn't always happen that way. It could have kept on going down. And if it did close below that 669, I could have been assigned those shares. But at $669 a share on SPY, I would not have minded at all owning those shares because I would be looking for that one to do exactly what it did today and move right back up to the 680s. And wow, that would be some very nice price appreciation, right? 680 subtracting 669, that's $11 move. Wow. Now, it did not close below it, so I did not get assigned those shares. So that option expired worthless. I still made my 150 bucks and I do not have to buy the shares. And you can see right here is my order, right? It's 669 SPY for March the 3rd because it was a day trade, right? And that's a put that I did sell and it was filled. And I made $1.50 per share for that 100 shares, and that's 150 bucks. And that was for just today. So I was super happy about that because honestly, that's some good money. And I did not even have to pay for the shares. But like I said, even if I did, I wouldn't have minded at all because I know overall SPY wants to move up and to the right. And it would be just a matter of time before I could sell those shares for a profit. And in the meantime, continually to sell those calls if I own those shares and make the premium as well. So let's just go ahead and let's drop that into my new covered call option sheet. And let's see what I'm up to at the current moment. And here we are on my options tracker. So this is a sheet I am still working on. I've got a few other things I've got to work out. But as you can see, I have made a few trades in it so far. And if we scroll up to the top, you can see currently I have made a total of $2,346.47. Now, I still have a couple options open. I've got my Credo open and I've got TJX open. Now TJX, I have a strike of 146 and it's currently sitting at 159. So this one is in the money. And if it is sold, then this one will close out. But I am going to see if I can't try to roll this out just a little bit. If TJX can move up, give me a green day, I might be able to roll this one out and move this 146 to maybe 147. But we'll see if I can do that this week because it does expire on Friday. So that's March the 6th. So the time is getting short for rolling it, but that is the plan and that is what I will try to do. But if not, I'm okay with that too because my premiums that I have earned on both these positions on TJX, which this is the second one. Up here's the first one, right? This one is closed. I had a strike of 145. Then I rolled it to a strike of 146. And I'm going to try to roll it out another month and see if I can get to 147 and just creep up a little bit at a time. But eventually, I'll just let it go, take that price appreciation. Once I get it above the 146.25, then I am golden on getting that price appreciation. Now, Credo is quite volatile. Now, I've been making some pretty good money on Credo. As you can see, my first trade, I made $4.30. The second one, $2.30. The next one, $2.15. And this last one, I made $2.05. And these are on 100 shares that I do own of Credo. And I noticed that I could have closed this option today for like 5 cents. So I could have closed this, went ahead and locked in a $2 gain on Credo and just wait for this to pop right back up eventually and just turn right around and sell another call. And if it is still down tomorrow, I might actually do that because 5 cents for the next couple of days is not really worth it. I would much rather go ahead and close it. And I would have done that today had I noticed the move on Credo. But let's just go ahead and let's enter in the SPY cash secured put that I did do today. So the date is 3/3, ticker SPY. It will load in what that current price is. Now my purchase price is 0 because I didn't buy them, right? I was doing a cash secured put. And there's a little drop down here. So a CC is a covered call and a CSP will be a cash secured put. That means that I have to have the cash available in order to sell that put so that it is covered if I am assigned those shares. So this is a CSP. My strike for this one was 669 and expiration date was again today because it was a day trade. The premium I earned, as you saw, was $1.50 and my fees to write that option is just 6 cents. How many contracts? I had 1 contract. So as you can see, my total premium I earned was $149.94 because it does subtract out that 6 cents for that fee out of that $1.50. Times 100 shares gives me $149.94. But since this is a day trade and SPY is nowhere near closing below 669, it's pretty safe to go ahead and close this one out. So we're going to change this to closed, and my close date will be the same date, 3/3. The current premium to close, well, it expired worthless. That means it did not cost me anything, and therefore there are no fees. So I netted that $149.94 and did not have to pay anything to close it. And I come over here, were my shares called away or assigned? I was not assigned those shares, so I can select no. I was not assigned those shares. As you can see, there's no price appreciation because this is a sold put, right? So no price appreciation. The amount I earned was $149.94, and therefore the percent earned on this trade for just the day was 0.22%. Now, what is that projected out for the week? That's a 1.57% for a week. Come on, guys. You got to love that, right? To get 1.5% in a week? Yes. I will take that every week. Then we project that out for the month, and that is calculated out as a 6.82% for the month. Goodness gracious. And that's a calculated projected percentage for the year of 81%. And that was just one single trade of making $1.50 on SPY. And that was just for the one day, right? Just for the single day. That was a day trade. So you got to love that. 1.5% for a week, especially whenever I'm shooting for 3% in a month. And this one on SPY just paid me over 6% projected out for the month. Now that is awesome. Now it doesn't happen every day, right? Doesn't happen every day. But if I can make that kind of money and that kind of percentage in a month, whew, man, that can be life-changing, right? Now let's check to see what that moved that total up to. So that moved my total earned up to $2,496.41. Awesome, right? Awesome. Love it. That is some good money. That's a projected monthly estimated income of 8% for the month. Remember, I was just looking for 3. It's giving me roughly 8% for the month. Very, very nice. I don't know about you, but that is something that I would love to do every month. Because if you calculate that and extend that over a year, you're looking at a 100% on the year. Now, keep in mind, that is not going to happen every week. That is not going to happen every day. And it's not going to happen every month. But for the times it does happen, I'm hoping to average at least 3%. But we will see how it goes. And if we look over here, you can see what have I been doing so far on my projected monthly. There's a 2.9, 12%, 10%, 12%, 33%, 7%, and the one we just did, 6%. So that is some good money. So that closes out the SPY one right here. So what I normally do is I just go through and I just highlight it as green as being closed. And there we go. Just so that I can see easily which ones are still open. So the ones that are still open are Credo and TJX. And if SPY is down tomorrow, I'll be selling another put tomorrow if the market gives it to me. I'm not going to chase it. I'm only going to do what the market gives me. Now, this sheet is not yet available to my Discord members, but it is getting very close, and I hope to get this out very soon to my Discord members. So guys, stay tuned. It is headed your way soon. So if you'd like to join my Discord, that link will be in the pinned comments and down in the description below, where this sheet will be available very soon, but that is also where you can find my high yield ETF stock tracker that you're looking at right here, that I'm also tracking those high yield ETFs and working to get those paid off. So come on over, join the Discord. We would love to have you. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button, as it would be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.